You've got to keep your sense of humor. Have you ever heard of a radio cartoon?
We've been hearing of late, of course, that there is a catastrophic fuel shortage across the country. We have invited as our guest this afternoon Professor Henry...
Higginbotham.
Professor Henry Higginbotham.
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 Yes, I don't know what it is actually.
Professor, now what is some of your background? What is your background in the fuel shortage crisis?
Well, first of all, I think the important thing to discuss is my educational background.
Yes, sir.
Of course, yes.
Well, I am a high school to the Clearwater.
Yes, I am a high school graduate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to seem false about this. And I would say mostly the reason I am something of an authority on the fuel shortage is because I drive a car.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And of course this would make it imperative that I know whether I'm going to get gas when I get to a service station. I always stop at those places that say eat and get gas. And I frequently do, unfortunately.
Professor, now, how serious is the fuel shortage crisis?
Well, if you're not going anywhere, it won't bother you, and you don't like light in your home. I think hermits are going to enjoy it, because it's going to raise their social status to the rest of us. However, I feel, and I feel this very strongly, that we're going to have some gasoline and some light, you see, along with electric heat.
Right. Well, how did the crisis come about? What started the crisis?
Well, actually, we have traced it back, and I've done a lot of work on this for the past several months, because, the government knew about it before we did, and I traced it back to a chap named Zemo Zinkhide. He had the first two names are the same because his father studied at the christening.
It's not only his father.
Yes, I studied. Well, I may be related to him. But anyway, I was there, you see, and I found out that this chap, Zemo, as he prefers to call himself, was very negligent and left open a natural gas pipeline and wasted. I must say he wasted 30 million cubic feet of natural gas.
30 million cubic feet of natural gas, and that's what brought on the fuel crisis?
That's brought on the fuel. That was the beginning of it. And of course, it's weakened us all around. And I would like to say this. It's a good time if you're in that area to quit smoking.
I would think, yeah. Well, what punitive action has been taken against this Zemo Zinkhide?
Well, they're being a bit drastic, I think. After all, the chap did make just a mistake. He didn't mean to do it. But they're forcing him to go back to his wife. And that's a lifetime punishment,
right.
As I see it. I met her. And he's going back to her. But, of course, it's caused a great deal of trouble, you see.
Well, can't this natural gas be made up or restored? Or?
Well, we're working on something now, you see. We thought for a while we might be able to keep some kind of an attraction object, perhaps in Congress, and we could get the natural gas from the speeches of the politicians. And if we could bottle that, of course, we could lift off for another space project.
Yes, I suppose.
Yes, that's true. The House of Misrepresentation and the Congress and all those places, you see, there's a lot of natural gas.
Well, now, this was just in the natural gas field. What about liquid gas and electricity and all of these areas?
Well, I don't know what to say about that. I haven't been on that, you see. I've been working on natural gas. They have other chaps out there working on this, I'm sure. But who knows? Who can say what caused that?
Well, how can we, as average citizens, help in the conservation of natural gas fuels?
Move to Australia. I think because that's what it is. Natural gas is down under. And we've got to help ourselves in this matter. It's a very strange situation we're in right now. And I believe that if there's one bit of advice I could give to anybody today who is worried about natural gas or electricity, the shortage of fuel and so on, is to get your passport in order.
Professor, how long do you think it'll be before we regroup our losses in the fuel shortage situation?
Well, I don't know. Of course, we're going through extensive scientific tests. What we're trying to do, you see, is come up with some sort of a substitute for natural gas. In other words, we'd have to call it unnatural gas, I suppose, but it would do all the things natural gas does.
So a replacement or substitute type of substance.
You certainly do catch on.
Do you think, Professor, that this is just part of an ecological problem?
No, I don't. I think it didn't start that way. I think this has been... it is now an ecological problem, no question of that, I suppose. But It started out simply as waste. You
Waste?
know we are a wasteful group. I mean, we
How
throw-
was that? Would you give us
Well,
an example of waste?
I suppose, yes. Suppose, for example, you leave the television on. And you go into the kitchen, to prepare something to eat, and the television runs for 30 minutes and there's nobody watching it. Now, that's a waste, isn't it?
I suppose.
I suppose it is.
Sort of helps the ratings occasionally, I guess, but...
It kills Nielsen. They not only don't know what you're watching, they don't know who's not watching it.
Yeah, I guess that would be waste, Professor.
I suppose it would.
Well, Professor, our time is running nigh, or near, or something. It's running out, actually, is what it's doing, sir. We want to thank you very much for being with us and discussing the fuel shortage crisis. Do you have any final words?
Well, I have, in honor of our problem, I think we need to go forward with a progressive spirit. So I have composed a little song.
A song?
Would you care to join me?
Oh,
I have a copy here.
certainly. This it here, huh?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get the orchestra struck up over there.
All right.
Thanks for the memories, the fuel we used to have, the things we used to do. It's apparent to us now, they've all gone up the flue. Oh, thank you, warm fuel. Thanks for the memories of light bulbs in the dark, a fireplace with sparks. Now it's come at last, we're out of natural gas. Oh, thank you, lost fuel.